Hi everyone. Since I started teaching about 5 years ago, I've tried a whole bunch of different revision techniques with my students. I've even learned quite a few from them. So what I wanted to do in this video was give you 6 of the top revision methods that I've come across since I started teaching. I'm going to start off with the boring one, I'm afraid, but in my mind it's number 1. Use past papers. It goes without saying, if you are training to climb a mountain, practice climbing mountains. If you're training to pass an exam, you've got to get good at writing exams. So there's a whole bunch of different resources you can use to help you. What I'd recommend you do is you find out which exam board your qualification is with. Now, a few of the big ones are OCR, AQA, Edexcel. Once you know this and you know specifically which qualification you're doing, you can go to their website and you'll find all of these sites. I've got exam papers usually for about 5 or 6 years in the past. Even more helpful is they'll also put the mark scheme up there. So you can actually find out, what do I have to do to get 10 out of 10 in this question? It's kind of an obvious one, but if you aren't using it, you really should be. Number 2, start thinking like a teacher. Now, while you're at the exam board website, there's an awful lot of materials there which are designed for teachers, but there's nothing stopping you from using them as well. In other words, if you go to OCR, let's say, and they have a teacher specification, this is literally a list of all of the contents that you need to deliver as a teacher to students. Well, that's going to be very handy to the students as well if you aren't using that. Other things that you might find surprisingly interested are lesson plans, model answers to coursework and exams, so you can actually see a specimen of what an A-star looks like. I find very often teachers use all of these in their own practice, but they don't share it enough with the students. Number 3, surround yourself with revision notes. I mean this in terms of it being the first thing you look at when you wake up and the last thing you look at when you go to sleep. And there's loads of ways you can do it. Maybe you want to put post-it notes everywhere. I had a student a couple of years ago who made these incredible, ginormous mind maps and literally took down his Star Wars posters for the summer and just plastered them everywhere. It kind of goes along with that old saying, which I love as far as revision goes, consistency beats intensity. If you can just look at it for a little bit every single day as opposed to intense cramming sessions, you're going to retain it a lot better. I had another student who had flashcards, but they took them everywhere. If they were waiting for 5 minutes for a bus, get out the flashcards. If they were on the bus, get out the flashcards. And again, it's this constant exposure to the notes which really helps you retain information. Number 4, create a WhatsApp group. Now, I can't take credit for this, but a bunch of my Year 13s last year created a WhatsApp group where they would literally revise together online. And they could use it to ask questions of each other. They could use it to challenge each other. They can even use it to iron out misconceptions along the way. Number 5, they say one of the best ways to learn is to teach. And I really believe this. With all the new specifications that have been starting for media studies, I've actually had to learn quite a lot of new content which I didn't actually already know. But by learning about it and researching myself so that I can then teach my students, I feel very confident in my subject knowledge. Now, there's nothing stopping you from doing the exact same thing. So if there's something that you want to try and learn, try turning it into a lesson. Even though it'll never get delivered to anybody, you don't have to show anyone or teach anything. The amount of research you need to do in order to create a lesson where you feel confident enough to deliver it, that's going to really help you retain information when you're preparing for an exam. And finally, make it visual. Now, maybe this is just the way I think, but pictures really resonate with me an awful lot more than reams and reams of text. So very often when I'm revising with students, I will try and break down dates or names or new words in terminology into pictures. Take a look at these and see if you can work out what they mean. So there you go, guys, a few tips which I personally have found over the years to have the most success with my students. Some of them you're probably already aware of, but you might not necessarily have tried them. So there's nothing stopping you from just getting up, having a go, and see how you get on with it. If you have any revision tips that you really recommend, please feel free to leave those in the comments down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.